All right, guys. Why do we have a courthouse in Texas handing out pamphlets on zombie attacks? As you can see here, someone that has walked in to a courthouse in Burleson, Texas, sees these zombie attack preparedness pamphlets for the people to take. This goes over evacuation routes, emergency survival plans, long-term supply checklists. It has all kinds of instructions in here, telling you better be better safe than sorry. And they have put this out there in the open. It even has a line saying that when zombies are hungry, they won't stop. And this is being put out in courthouses. This is real deal. Are you guys seeing anything like this out there in your neck of the woods? This reminds me of several different things in the past we covered. And you talk about hiding something in plain sight. That seems to be exactly what they're doing here right now. Remember when Amazon updated its terms of service? What was in it? Zombie attack. To be ready for a zombie apocalypse event. We questioned it then. Why are they doing something like this that seems like a joke, but it's not a joke? Well, here again, in a public courthouse in Texas, they've stocked the bin over here with this, and it's very serious. They're not putting it out as a joke. It's on the serious tip. Are you guys seeing something like this in your neck of the woods? Let me know. And join me for the live stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, where I'm talking about.
You're talking about zombies again. I want to say shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone and rule well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect, noise in the gospel brought, living up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. I'm the priest, Mahaloya, coming back with another lesson. Lord's going to be edifying. That talk of zombie is back in the public to some degree. Dabu 7 going into how a courthouse in Texas is saying prepare for zombie attack. I mean, you would say a zombie attack like some Evil Dead, Walking Dead type stuff. But you have to understand this too, that we live in a realm or a world of possibilities, and anything is possible. As the scriptures say, everything is possible with Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So we can't really write this off, man, because, you know, they make it seem like zombies and all this other stuff is science fiction. You know, it's movies and this and that. And of course, in the movies, they over-exaggerate it. But with the type of technology that they have today, it doesn't surprise me if they can turn humans into some type of flesh-eating cannibals, man. Hell, the average human being, and Esau even admitted it, he said if a person go a couple of days or weeks without eating, they'll resort to eating people. And that's a form of a zombie attack, because once you become famished, your mind starts to do something, okay? It turns into like a cannibal state almost, and you would do whatever it takes to survive, man. But without all the Maxine waters and the mandates and the the inoculations, I'll say it that way, it's not surprising. I mean, hell, going back to 2021 during the time of the Ovid, this was on the DCC website, which, you know, we call it the Center for Disease Creation, because we know that they create these things and they put a patent on them, and ultimately they experiment on things. When you go into that show, The Last of Us, which was set, it was set in Boston and it ended like in Seattle, but part of the middle of the series, they was in Kansas City, Missouri, which when you play the game, you never would knew that, because, you know, you just didn't know. There was no resemblance, but there was a horde of zombies that was right here in this state, in this province, and they came from underground, the caves, right? Because this is considered a cave state. Now, 2021, and he even mentioned, he said, remember when the DCC had this on their website doing an ordeal? I remember, I did a lesson on it. And, you know, there was a lot of conspiracies out there back in 2020, how the lights were turning purple around airports and certain areas of the city. And, you know, there was supposed to be able to detect the luciferase and It's like a black UV light, and they can detect certain specimens, invisible specimens that don't show up with the naked eye. So they have UV lights, and allegedly those lights supposed to picked up on the graphene that was in people's blood of who resisted the icky vicky and didn't. Which, me personally, I believe that was set up for a lot of time, because with the Ovid and this coming 6G shit, and people that shot the J, and on top of that, the people that's gonna take to the MOT to the B, I believe it's all gonna turn hand in hand. Okay, and then just speculate through the spirit. Do I have any definitive proof on that? No, I can't say, well, that's gonna be what it is. We don't know, but through some type of technology and information they've been downloading to people's DNA by taking certain poisons, it makes all the sense in the world that when they hit that switch, people are gonna start to bug out. All right, because I think, shit, let me read this. Let me do this real quick. Go here. What percentage of people took the you-know-what in America? A great deal. I know everybody in my family took that motherfucker, man. At least twice. It says approximately 79 to 81% of the U.S. population received at least one dose of the you-know-what during the initial rollout. That's when they was like, it's experimental. We don't know the effects. This is before it was even so-called approved of. That's 81% of the people. That's more than half the people. Now, we didn't take that, but those are scary numbers, man, because you got to ask yourself what Israelites went and snuck behind backs and took this, man. And I don't want to put this out there, but I'm willing to bet that you had certain men in GMS that snuck down there and took this goddamn jab. I bet my best dollar on that. Can I prove it? No, but let's be honest with you. Everybody's not rooted, you know, but we specifically told brothers, do not take this shit, because we don't know what it is, and you can't trust the Esau science. Trust the science. Yeah, where he's at. Niggas in the underground somewhere, man. But it says, while about 67 to 70% completed the full primary series, typically 2 doses or 1 Janison dose. So that means that majority of these people took it. Every other person you see walking around here took that shit. They got it in their blood. And those are people that took it, they affected us, because being around them, they had what they call shedding. And I remember being around people and I was just feeling like shit, man. I was like, what the hell? I could be around somebody and all of a sudden it's like we were being bombarded with the chemicals, man. So we all got traces of this in our blood because of the people that took it. But those of you that actually took it, you're compromised, man. And I'm not saying that this is going to have something to do with what they're talking about, but it makes all the sense in the world, because this was a damn weapon. And with the 6G, who knows, man? But it says these figures from the data and summaries of mid-2023, period when most primary series such and such occurred and reporting stabilized. It says at least 1 dose, 81% of the total population, about 270 million people by May 2023. It says earlier peaks were reported around 79% in certain aggregates. Fully primary series completed about 70% of the population, roughly 230 million people. Golly. So that right there tells a tale. And I'm saying that because during the time of Ovid, that was on their website. So whatever they gonna do, I don't know if it's something they can switch, but whatever it is, they got a patent on people. And when you watch that show, The Last of Us, it's something called like the cordyceps or something like that. It's a particular fungus, and it's actually based on a real virus, man. Now, is it transmissible to humans? I mean, of course they say it's not, but what they call gain of function research, gain of function, you can take something from a monkey and throw it onto to a dinosaur or to an elephant, and it would affect that. Just like the BIRDFLU. They didn't have, allegedly that wasn't transmissible to humans, but now all of a sudden it is due to Esau's witchcraft, man. So this is why you can't trust this devil, you know, and we definitely ain't taking that MOTB. So this was a comment I got, and I've been speaking on this for forever. I've been saying this, man, for a long time. It says, I have a buddy who was highly decorated airborne ranger back in like 11 and 12. He was stationed at DUM near KCMO, which stands for Deep Underground Military Bases, which they have them all through Missouri. Okay, this is a cave state. We sitting on top of it right now. All right, that's how deep it goes. They got something which is called Subtropolis, which is I think it's like a 50 million square mile complex, but only so much of it is only accessible to the public. But it's an underground cave system that have businesses and routes and so forth. But the deeper you go, I believe it's restricted. You go in there and get lost. Lord's will, the brothers and myself, we go down there and do some filming. We've been planning to do this for the last 3 or 4 years, and we haven't gotten back around to it. But I did do one lesson back in 2015 called FEMA Camp Caves, and it was me and a brother at the time. We did a lesson through. We did a drive through, and we were showing you the Subtropolis, and you can look that up. It's a cave system right here in Missouri, in Kansas City, Missouri. But he said that one night he and his buddy were at a bar eating/drinking when their walked in to hang out, and they drank for a while. And my buddy asked him, "So what's really in the bunker?" And his CO told him there was a top secret bioweapons in there. And a lot of the bulk on The Last of Us took place in Kansas City, a bioweapon. It says one of which described as Virus X, and it's supposedly the real zombie virus. So wow. As we always say, something big was going to hit here in Kansas City, man, because this city, they just don't know judgment for real. We landlocked, we get earthquakes from time to time. We get tornadoes, we get heavy thunderstorms, but they're really the center or the epicenter of being in the middle of Babylon. And it says once was described as Virus X, and it's supposedly a real zombie virus. He says, "I've known that man since childhood, and we have been close our entire lives. He's never betrayed me or lied. I believe him." So, hey, I can believe that too. Because like I said, this man is the damn devil that the Bible talks about, man. Okay, so let's look up. And they were just talking about this. Matter of fact, last year, 2024, about the new Pandeezy. I think it was called something X, if I'm not mistaken, if I can remember it. Disease, yep. Or pathogen X is not a real existing or such and such disease circulating today. It's a placeholder term coined by the WHO, of course, in February 2008. But it says it represents hypothetical unknown pathogen, most likely of such and such from zoonotic from animals that could emerge in the future and cause a serious international epidemic or a pandemic. Hey, them shows be on point, man. The Last of Us, that was based on a real fungus, and I think they experiment like on a moth or something like that. It shedded and died and came back as some type of zombie moth, something like that. And remember that those deers was popping up with certain antlers, and they had like 3-4 antlers, and they had like certain funguses popping out of them. And allegedly these monkeys escaped out of a truck, like the movie Contagion. They hide things in plain sight all the time. But it says the purpose is pandemic preparedness, which they're going to create it, by the way, to encourage research, surveillance. There you go, surveillance, the chip, and planning for unknown knowns, rather than only focusing on known threats like Ebola, Zika, or you know what. So yeah, man, hey, this is back in this. They're talking about it again, so we got to keep our eyes open. But anyway, this is the book of 2nd Ezra 15, and I'm gonna start at verses. Let's start at verses 55. It says, "The reward of thy whoredom should be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense. Like as thou hast done unto my chosen, says the Lord, even so shall the Most High do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief." Yep, and the Most High is getting ready to bring this place down, as we're seeing World War III, which, is not on paper as World War III, but that comes after the fact, of course. But we're seeing things lead up to the war of Armageddon, man. All right, we're seeing the downfall of society. The unemployment is getting higher. The economy is crashing. The dollar is losing value by the second. You name it, man. We in them times. Pestilence, famines, persecutions, war, all that's going to happen simultaneously. Like famine come, we ain't going to have to wait 5 years for a pestilence. Famine and pestilence constitute one another. It complements one another. You know what I'm saying? Famines, wars, droughts, diseases, all that comes hand in hand. It's one situation into it's one big petri dish of judgment. So while you have an economic collapse, you have famine simultaneously. You have what you call pestilence, war, instability, insurrections, civil unrest, martial law, concentration camps. All these things are going to be happening at the same time, man. And it reads, it says, thy children should die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword, and thy city should be broken down. Why? Through civil unrest. To say if you got a couple of hundred zombies walking through the damn street, the news going to be reporting on it. Military are going to be dispatched. They're going to quarantine certain zones. They're going to lock people up in concentration camps to be justified on quarantining people off and giving them that MOTB, if it goes that route. Because, see, this one thing, Esau would put it out there and he would create it just to create a hysteria effect. And with the hysteria, in order to foil the chaos, he would bring in the necessary parameters to foil that, man, meaning martial law. So you're going to have specialized troops on the streets, man, checking your temperature, making sure you ain't got no white spots on your tongue. If you slurring your words, hell, I remember doing 2020. If you even sneezed in a store, they were throwing your ass out, man. Okay, that was a crazy time we was in. It was like, wow, people really falling for this shit, man. And brothers, we was cool. We was kicking it. We was chilling. Had a lot of fun, brothers was taken care of. And the Most High is going to up that. He going to take care of us even more. And it reads, the city should be broken down, and all thine should perish with the sword in the field, that they may be in the mountains should die of hunger and eat their own flesh. Yeah, cannibalism. And that's what a zombie is the ultimate undead cannibal. We just go around eating people, especially with the type of drugs they got. Trank. If you look at Philadelphia out there in Baltimore and Philly, in Maryland and all that stuff, and you see the type of drugs like Trank, them dudes look like a movie prop in a zombie flick, man. I mean, it's real disturbing on what the drugs do to the people. And it says they hunger and should eat their own flesh and drink their own blood, for the very hunger of bread and thirst of water. That that goes through famine, all right? But even then, people are gonna be on some Mad Max type stuff. And it says, and thou as unhappy should come through the sea and receive plagues again. And in the passage they should rush on the idol city and should destroy some portion of thy land and consume part of thy glory, and should return to Babylon that was destroyed. Because we know America is going to be destroyed according to the Bible, man. All right, let's do this. Trank drug, zombie-like effects. Like, I mean, it's crazy, man. If you see these people, it's like they're dead, but they're just stuck. It's like a spirit got a hold of them, man. Flesh eating zombie drug trade. Say, look, peep this.
That's that new shit that came out that keeps you high for a very long time.
It's called Trank, animal tranquilizer. They're putting into drugs now.
If you do too much of it, it'll take your breath, your air. You seen one guy down, thought he was dead.
Right.
Also known as xylazine, is an animal tranquilizer proven deadly for people, and it's making its way across American cities.
Coming more east than it is anywhere else.
Worst epidemic that I've seen, heroin epidemic. That was even worse. We had females selling their daughters, people selling their bodies. But now I'm seeing people doing all kinds of crazy movement. Not no drugs causing that. That's just a person that got a mental problem. Can't blame that on no drugs.
I think it's a harder drug than crack.
They're calling it a zombie drug and a silent killer.
Walking around with no shirt on in the middle of winter time.
Drugs are getting crazier.
Make you go real crazy, real fast.
37 been on these streets for almost 30 years. Some people that's homeless go around starting stuff with people. Some robbing, that's some that panhandle.
That's how you know Babylon is falling, bro. Let's find something else.
These are videos that are doing the rounds on social media. People can be seen walking strangely, behaving in a manner that is as bizarre as it could get. Their behavior is being called zombie-like. Now, we've all heard of zombies. There are movies that talk about them. But what really is going on here? What's making these people behave this way? These videos are surfacing at a worrying time, when concerns have been rising over a drug in the United States. It's being called by different names. It's being called the zombie drug, a flesh-eating drug, skin-rotting drug, and it once again is bringing America's worsening opioid epidemic to the forefront. At the heart of this horror story lies an animal tranquilizer. It's called xylazine. it can knock you out for hours. So it can leave the users vulnerable for long periods of.
I won't be surprised if they put that in your modern day shit. You know, the shit you go and see your physician for. That's why the nations are laughing at this place. You don't see shit like that in Russia. People on drugs like that, man. This place is a joke, man. How the hell a good percentage of your population is homeless? 2 million homeless? How many drug addicts here? And then on top of that, everybody is from the juice. Man, please, it's easy to them people are fucking there eat you, man. This dude, man, that's why we got to get the hell up out of here, bro. This is sad, bro. You know? But this is the book of Jeremiah 19 and 9. And it says here, matter of fact, let's start at verses 7. Matter of fact, let's start at verse 6. It says, therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, if this place should no more be called Tophet, or the valley of the son of Hinnom, but the valley of slaughter. All right? I'm going into you tribes, man. But America is the land of the shadow of death. It says, and I will make void the counsel of Judah and Jerusalem in this place, and I will cause them to fall by the sword before their enemies, and by the hand of them that seek their lives. And their carcasses I will give to be meat for the fowls of heaven, and for the beasts of the earth. Your dead bodies, man. The animals are going to feast. And it reads, and I will make this city desolate and hissing, and everyone that passeth thereby should be astonished and hiss because of the plagues thereof. Let me see what that word hiss means. His goes into, what is this? Shrak. To hiss, to whistle, to pipe. To whistle. And it reads, and it says here, and I will make the city desolate and hissing, and everyone that passeth by should be astonished and hiss because of all the plagues thereof. And I will cause them to eat the flesh of their sons and the flesh of their daughters. Hey, cannibalism. And they should eat every one the flesh of his friend, and the siege and straightness wherewith their enemies, and they shall seek their lives, shall straighten them, man. All right? So it's going to get real bad out here. Scriptures tells us in 2nd Esdras that this is a time of great mourning and great death. 2nd Esdras 16 and verses 17, it says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days, right? It's going to be a scary, dark time, man. Wisdom of Solomon 17. You know, them apparitions, because zombies ain't nothing but demonic spirits, man. And people that just bugged out. Minds are gone. They're not even there no more. It's like a drug. The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and power shall stand in fear, and the beginning of evils. It says, what should I do when these evils come? Yeah, man. What should we do? Call on the name of Yahweh Shai. Because, hey, this is going to be around us. However they play this off, you know, even if it comes to that, you know, not saying the whole population is going to turn into a bunch of undead, but, you know, just look at the trank we showed you. And these people are already heavily medicated on the poisons that Esau prescribed them, doing a you-know-what. So it's easy to see them switching the frequencies of these towers, and people's minds has just become something else. And those of you that may take that microchip, hey, you may turn it to a damn undead. Who knows? You know? This is the book of Ezekiel 7 and 15. It says, the sword is without, and the pestilence and famine within. And he that is in the field should die with the sword. And he that is in the city, famine and pestilence should devour him. Right? Pestilence, because that's part of it. A pestilence, a disease. But they that escape of them should be on the mountains like doves of valleys, all of them mourning, everyone for his iniquity. And all hands should be feeble, and all knees should be weak as water, and they should guide themselves with sackcloth, and horror should cover them, and shame should be upon all faces, and baldness should be upon all heads, man. All right? So I'm going to end it. All praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Shai. Lord's will, you are edified. Until the next lesson, Shalom.